Welcome one and all to our final quarterfinal match of the Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition All Skills Tournament. I am, of course, Jay Hobbs, and I am joined with the lovely EloJimmini. We will be your commentators for today and be giving you a rundown of this matchup. EloJimmini, I know we're both excited. We've been talking about it for like an hour now. Why are you so excited for this matchup today?
Well, Hobbs, Sigma and Elo, our two competitors today, the number 3 and number 6 seeds respectively, are absolutely both beasts at this game, and their level of skill is incredible. Their PBs currently are 3 seconds apart from one another, with a 31-32 and a 31-35, and Elo having the slight advantage there. But both of these runners have been incredibly consistent runners. In their practice today, they've both been getting 31 times. Sigma, in fact, got a 32-10, and he was concerned that that wasn't a good enough run to be able to possibly beat Elo. But just in general, these runners are both absolutely top players of this game, and this race is going to be incredible.
Definitely is going to be, and I really like the kind of energy that these runners are coming into this match with. They both feel like they need to perform as best as they possibly can, pull out, almost all the stops, but yet they still have this great, atmosphere of Elo giving us the quote of "I'm really, really awesome," and Sigma saying Elo is a terrifying monster, but I'm gonna win, and that kind of thing. So to just kind of talk again, Sigma said that he does believe Elo is a terrifying monster, but he can beat him. He thinks he's gonna need a 31-minute time to do it. He actually did get a 31 in practice earlier today, as EloJimmini was mentioning, and he says that not only does he need a 31 in this race, but he is going to get a 31 in this race. He is not letting a 32 happen, and that is something that's just absolutely crazy, especially with all of the insane number of tricks that can go wrong in a run like Ori and the Blind Forest.
Agreed. Elo, for his part, he does feel very confident about this race, but he also acknowledges he doesn't really know what to expect. Sigma is basically on par with him in just about every respect, and that creates some unknowns. He is concerned about a couple parts of his game. We talked to him, and he mentioned that he has some concerns about Sorrow Pass. It's not even the crazy juggle trick that he's going to do there. He's actually most concerned about the rocket jump right after that. He just seems to be hitting the lasers a whole lot. So hopefully we won't see that. In general, neither runner is really talking about taking any safety strats of any significant note. Sigma said if he sees that he's ahead by enough, he might consider dropping some safety saves in Misty, but otherwise, by and large, both runners are going to be going for the absolute best strats they have.
And they will need it to win this one. Both of them have had a little bit easier road to get to this match, I would say, but Sigma definitely with the easier matchup so far. To talk about his road to the quarterfinals here, he had his 3 group matches in which he won all of them against Red Rum, Jella, and Isaacs, with the best time at that time of a 32.53 and his worst time being a 37.05. So quite a bit of variance there, but his average time was still pretty good overall. He brought it back down to a 32.52 in his round of 32 match versus Rivid, and recently against Cheese, he had a performance that we would probably call a bit sloppy from him, or not his best performance, and yet it was still a 33.49 minute time, or 33 minute 49 second time against Cheese, and this without the recent 35-second time save.
Indeed. On the other side of the equation, we've got Elo over here, whose road to the bracket stage went through me, actually, as he was in my group. And at the time that we seeded the groups, I was actually the top player in that group, and Elo was the second. But he improved extremely rapidly. You can see on the screen his PB has gone down 4 minutes and 15 seconds since the tournament began. And so he was able to take out Richard and Kyrfel, the other members of the group, pretty easily. Against me, that was the time when we had tied PBs. And so it was a very close race, decided ultimately by a death on my part in Ginso, but Elo walking away with the victory and managing to sweep the group, and then going up against Kyrfel again in the round of 32 and Stefu in the round of 16, and being able to take both those matches very convincingly. And as you did note, Sigma's last race in the round of 16, grenade jump did not exist yet. That trick was not a thing. it did exist for Elo's race against Stefu. So he has that experience of having done it once in a tournament race, which may absolutely come in handy during this race, just make him feel a little more confident about that.
We'll have to see if it does as we get this race underway for everybody here. This is definitely the closest match for each of these runners so far. This one that has been favored for Sigma in a lot of people's predictions. Surprisingly enough, despite Elo having the better PB at this time. And I think mainly that's probably just due to kind of some of Sigma's consistency sometimes that we often see from him. I got to know, EloJimmini, who do you think is coming out on top in this one?
Oh, gosh, don't ask me that, dude. That's impossible. I can't call
I had to ask you, so you didn't ask me.
I mean, Elo, I've gone up against him in a race, and he's just, as Sigma described, he is a terrifying monster. It is absolutely scary to go up against him. His level of consistency and confidence with stuff like 3 HP, which he has been going for since the very start of the tournament, has never wavered from that. That's a very frightening thing. It is worth noting Sigma will also be going for 3 HP in this race. He believes he needs to pull out basically almost every stop in order to take out Elo.
Well, as you can see, we are underway, and currently they are tied, which is to be pretty much expected. So they'll be picking up sign here. Nothing too surprising about this early game. I don't think we're going to be seeing any kinds of like real big early game sloppiness from the runners, no more than a few seconds here and there. But we'll have to keep an eye out, see if anybody goes a little too risky and ends up taking an early death and kind of swinging the lead in the other's favor.
I would be fairly surprised to see a death at this stage in the run from these two runners, or even a significant difference on this Frankie fight, except we are already seeing a slight, about 1 second difference from Elo having just made a slight mistake there. But otherwise, I would not be expecting anything particularly severe. Both runners are very experienced running with 3 HP, including, even though Sigma did not go for in the tournament so far, he does in his PB attempts, so he obviously knows what he's doing in that regard.
Another trick he does go for in his PB attempts is, of course, fast Frankie walk, which Elo does not go for. So if Sigma is a bit worried, we may end up seeing him go for that later. He did say that if his experience is perfect, he'll be considering it, but it's highly unlikely that he will go for it. We'll keep an eye out as we reach the end of Blackroot Burrows.
Look at this frame tie here.
Very close. Exactly what we wanted so far. And to remind everybody, this is the quarter-final match, and this is the Gumo Division Finals, effectively. And the winner of this match, whether it be Sigma or Elo, will be facing off against the winner of the Naru Division, which we just determined yesterday, and will be, I am blanking right now.
VG underscore
Thank you,
Hydra.
will be Hydra.
So Sigma, unfortunately, having a little bit of time loss there. He took a little bit of weird damage boost from the slime in the tree, and then he also had 2 HP going into his ghost door, so it took a little bit longer. So kind of a double time loss there for him, setting him back around 2 to 3 seconds versus Elo, who looks to have overcome that slight difference on the Frankie fight earlier on. Oh, but He gets trolled by an energy drop.
I don't think the drops are really going to decide this too much right here. And really, as we mentioned, it all comes down to kind of the consistency and a lot of the more difficult tricks later on.
All right, so it is worth noting, Sigma just got his level up on the way down into wall jump, and that is actually part of the setup that he uses in order to get fast Frankie walk later on. You need a very specific amount of XP to be able to do it, and getting the level up on the way down is going to set up your XP count just a little bit better for that. It's going to make it a little more likely that you can do it. So we've got both runners picking up the energy cell and making their way back out of wall jump now. The deficit is only around 3 seconds for Sigma. This is actually part of what we expected and what Sigma expected. He said that he thought Elo was very likely to get a better early game. Elo is definitely known for his extremely strong early game, but he believes he has the opportunity to make it up later on.
And that is, of course, going to potentially happen here. I mean, with all the new tricks that have come out recently, on top of all the tricks that have been known about, but have been things that we have just assumed weren't going to be needed.
Sigma took a little extra damage from that slime coming up, and he actually stopped to pick up some extra health. So he, being at 3 HP, he knew that there was a decent chance running at 1 HP on the way back, he might take a death. And that unfortunately set him a little further behind Elo. But again, that's something that we might end up seeing a fast Frankie walk, and that could wipe out that deficit immediately, or
surprising
make it
that he
far
didn't.
worse.
Surprising that he didn't end up picking up the health that's more along the way. Must have been worried about the one slime between the two. But he hasn't quite died yet, and now he's got full health thanks to that bramble wall. I believe his experience is under 40, so we won't be seeing any fast Frankie walk from Sigma unless I'm reading that number incorrectly.
Yeah, it would be very surprising. It looked like it was 38, and the number that you really want in order to do fast Frankie walk is 43 or so. So almost certainly no fast Frankie walk coming from Sigma, but maybe if he feels pressured based on this early game, we might see that. The difference is currently 7 seconds right now.
Yeah, and that is something that fast Frankie walk would make up, but it of course is a gigantic time loss if he were to end up taking a mistake on it. So we'll have to keep an eye out. It'll be coming up right after Dash. We'll be sure to remind you about it. But yeah, right now 7-second difference just from a little bit of sloppiness is a lot. I think a little bit bigger than we would have expected.
A little bit, but it's also, not at all insurmountable. And it's one of those things where in Blackroot Burrows, if Elo happens to just hiccup for one brief instant, he could miss a cycle and immediately lose all 8 of those seconds. The cycle loss is 8 seconds, but the difference is 7. So that would put Sigma right back in it.
Definitely. At the time, they are currently still waiting through this kind of auto-scrolly section. Again, both runners waited at the end of the platform, as you saw, to manipulate the cycle for the next room. We'll be seeing if Elo went for an aggressive or a docile cycle manipulation here. He's walking up. We'll be jumping out for a platform, and he went with a fairly standard, maybe even a little bit aggressive cycle there, so very nice from him to not have any issues there.
Indeed, and good on him to get that.
Oh, Sigma went for an aggressive one, and unfortunately went a little bit too aggressive and managed to miss it. So that's going to put him back quite a bit of extra time there.
Well, that's exactly the kind of thing we were talking about, where Sigma thought that he needed to take a slight risk given the situation so far, and unfortunately this one just did not pay off. If you manipulate those cycles too aggressively, that platform is just not going to be reachable, and you have to do it while carrying that stupid orb, which makes you heavier, so it's not a good time for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, possible the nerves are hitting Sigma. Sigma, of course, does have much more competitive gaming experience than Elo. One of the things to notice that he has actually played games such as competitive Team Fortress in the past, and it's kind of surprising to see that the nerves are maybe hitting him a bit more than Elo, but it is still the early game. Those nerves could be coming just around the corner.
Agreed. I know Elo told us that he expected to be very nervous straight up through double jump, and I would especially expect to see that around the Frankie walk, which is it's a straightforward trick, and at the same time it's an extremely difficult trick. It's one of those things where you can easily flub one of the inputs and just lose a whole bunch of time. At Dash, the difference was approximately 17 seconds based on what time they hit the tree. So it's still definitely reachable for Sigma, even if he does not go for fast Frankie walk, which I would not expect to see.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see it normally, but because of the issues he's had in this early game, he might feel that he needs it. It's really a judgment call here, and I can't even imagine what Sigma's going through right now, trying to wrestle with that decision, rather. And it looks like he's not going for it. He hasn't damaged the Frankie enough, so just wants to make sure he stems the bleeding. And
I think that's a smart play on his part. He doesn't want to make it an obvious win when it could just be when you're within 15 seconds, you absolutely have the opportunity to catch up if Elo makes really one mistake almost anywhere.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where if you're making uncharacteristic mistakes, then your confidence may be a bit shaken, and you really need that confidence when going into a trick like fast Frankie walk, because you have to fully commit to it.
We're going to see the early grotto cycle attack from Elo. He did not get it. Both of these runners have had a very rough time with the early grotto cycle in this tournament. They are actually single-handedly responsible for bringing the overall average down in the round of 8. So that's kind of a hilarious little note. These two runners are both extremely skilled, but just that early grotto cycle trick giving them problems. Sigma able to get it either.
Having a different problem with it, but having the same result. He had a bit of trouble getting up that wall just in time, and it takes a very precise series of inputs in order to get that cycle. So not going to be gaining any of that time. Luckily for him, not going to be losing it. And he is watching the stream, or at least will have it open to make periodic checks. So I'm sure he does know, or at least will know, that he didn't luckily lose more time there.
Yeah, that's always the scary part of that entire section is just not only missing the early cycle, especially if your opponent gets it, but even if they don't, then subsequently just dying to something stupid like accidentally getting caught in the spikes on the crushers. We're going to be coming up to Grotto Skip from Elo momentarily. Let's see how that
so check
goes.
out the right side of your screen, and a beautiful first attempt from him, skipping the entire left side of Moon Grotto, which is just very slow, not something we want to do. He'll be glitching out this cutscene in order to skip it and also avoid spawning some rocks. In the meantime, take a look at the left side. We have Sigma coming up to the Grotto Skip as well. He is not very fond of this trick, and he manages to overcome that this time and get it first try. So excellent job from him, kind of starting to recover and gain that confidence back after those early mistakes.
Yeah, he really needs to just hunker down and play his own game. He really doesn't want to have any minor or major mistakes that are going to cost him any more time. So even, just not gripping that, the keyboard and mouse tighter, but just kind of focusing and making sure that you do the movements that you're used to doing and don't overthink it too much. Just play the game, which is easier said than done.
Well, of course. And Sigma actually, I think, just getting that water vein a little bit quicker, having a slightly better slow zone skip than Elo did. So catching up frames here and there, and that's exactly what he's going to have to do to get back in this, because I would not expect Elo to take many major mistakes in this early game, not until probably, I'd say, in the swamp area, or, after the swamp area.
Yeah, I think the main part of the game where Sigma will be hoping for some success to catch up against Elo will pretty much be that Sorrow and Misty segment, where Elo's not really going for safety strats. So any mistake is almost certainly going to kill him, and that would be the door that Sigma needs to open up to get back into this. Not that he couldn't based on other minor mistakes, like, for example, missed key dupe would absolutely help.
Well, while Sigma waits for that door to open, Elo will be opening a door of his own, the door to Ginso. Thank you for that awesome segue. That was really fun to do. And meanwhile, on the way there, though, Sigma did have a few hiccups with a jump here or there, so probably going to be losing another second or two on his way into Ginso. And it looks to be almost a 28-second difference at the time.
Sigma just took 2 damage from one of these spike crushers just at the Thornfell teleporter, so he had to kill the slime as well. His deficit was already 28 seconds. Elo has been widening it bit by bit here. So a little bit of a scary time for Sigma. He's running on low health and already getting further and further behind.
Yeah, and Sigma's also somebody who likes to very kind of precisely route out his experience after wall jump. And taking that extra experience shouldn't really affect anything, but it's not something that he really likes to do. Taking the experience from the slime, that is. So we'll have to see if he ends up being able to skip a flower or something for it. He did skip that first one, which I am not certain if he normally takes. But at least he will hopefully be able to keep that as a conscious effort. Again, probably not going to matter, but we'll have to see.
So we did not see a Mr. Asthma cycle from EloJimmini, who's just finishing up the puzzle room here. Let's see if we see one from Sigma. It only saves 0.5 seconds, but at this point, I think he's going to want everything he can possibly get.
And he is sitting at 2 health, so he can die instantly. He did not go for it.
Go for it. That's not unreasonable. If you do it even slightly suboptimally, you will actually end up losing time instead of saving any.
Yes, and a bit surprising just because he had already taken that damage, and it would be a way for him to kind of recover some of that lost time. But like you said, it's a matter of kind of playing your odds, and he didn't like the odds that he'd be actually getting the full-time save there. Elo with a very nice mini-boss kill, by the way, as Sigma enters it, so very close, these two runners, just one room apart, effectively.
Sigma getting an unfortunate spawn from the mini-boss in the bottom right while he was already waiting on the far left. So costing him just little bits of time. He was around 30 seconds behind coming into the mini-boss. It looks like that might have slightly narrowed over the course of the mini-boss.
Yeah, and that mini-boss is, of course, the last kind of real point of randomness in this run. At least randomness imposed by the game. We'll get more to kind of practical randomness later as we get to some of the more specific tricks. But meanwhile, Elo just flying through, has already picked up Bash and is looking pretty good for himself right now. On the left side, we'll have to see if Sigma gets a nice little hyperspeed here to try to save some time. And he does not quite manage to do it. And I believe Elo did. I didn't quite catch, but I think he did get the hyperspeed. So Elo just playing a very solid game here.
Yeah, I don't remember the last mistake we saw from Elo after that one missed shot on the Frankie fight at the very beginning of the game. He's just been playing incredibly solid, and this is exactly what Sigma was referring to when he described Elo as a terrifying monster. We're going to see a key dupe attempt from him here, and that was flawless, so no problem there. He's not going to incur the kind of time loss there that could have actually put Sigma right back into it.
Yeah, and we'll see Sigma's attempt soon. We're getting a little bit of a freeze from Elo there, probably just some internet issues, and looks like we're back already. So Sigma about an entire, key duplication away. That's around 20 seconds or so, maybe a bit more. Sigma not quite getting the instant kill either, losing a tad more time there. It's very funny that, Sigma isn't really making drastic kinds of death errors or anything like that. It's just Elo is saving the frames everywhere over
Death
Sigma.
by 1,000 cuts for him. Pretty
Absolutely.
much right now.
It's a very difficult place to be in right now. I would probably like to see Sigma almost kind of close the stream at this point, focus in, because that's the kind of thing that can get into your head very easily. If you see that your opponent is really not making any mistakes and you wonder how can you possibly get back into the game.
Yeah, in this kind of match, normally I'm a big advocate of watching your opponent's stream, as it looked like Elo hit the core around 16:08. I'm normally a big advocate of that, but in this particular case, when you're behind by someone that you basically know is not going to make any mistakes, you almost do specifically want to turn it off just so that you can focus on your own game and just get that out of your head a little bit. But it's tough, and of course that would take some, closing the stream will take some mental bandwidth that Sigma might not be able to afford.
Yeah, and he does have about a 22-second deficit at this point to recover. But again, the mistakes later in the run will cost much, much more time than that. So that's what he'll be hoping for. Elo getting a very nice early cycle there in that Ginso escape. Not something that many runners often even go for. And a little bit risky because it's so close to the spikes, but very nice on him to be able to catch that cycle.
Sigma going through his escape as well. And he's going to climb up this left side, which is basically the same amount of time as jumping off the middle jump pad. And I would be surprised to see Sigma have any issues the rest of the way. This escape is pretty straightforward. We might see him go for the optimal bash off the last spider directly up to the lantern instead of hitting the right wall. And that will save just a small amount of time. He is going for it.
Did get it. Did go for it and get it, rather. And very nice job from him. Elo getting a nice hyperspeed save on the right side, saving just a fraction of a second effectively. And will be now potentially going for a damage boost, decided against it, at least a damage boost on the left, a bit more difficult than the one on the right, so he opts for the safer strat there. We are not certain if Elo is watching the race right now or not, so I wonder if he might take some safer strats if he is watching and sees that he's ahead.
Yeah, what he told us was, I may watch on my phone, so I believe there's a decent likelihood that he has his phone open with the stream, just to be cover that one base. Ooh, Sigma with a nice adaptation there. That word we love so much.
Yeah, very awesome double bash to kind of recover from missing a jump there, missing a bash. And I mean, that's the kind of thing that we need to see out of these runners. Oh, wow, Elo making a
quick miss on Drainless. Yeah, that'll just cost him a couple seconds. He let the stomp play out, but that shouldn't be a problem. He is fine. So only one miss, not too bad. The deficit at Stomp was about 30 seconds. We actually misreported it earlier. It has been 30 seconds roughly since mid-Ginso tree. So Sigma not really gaining time, not really losing time yet. We're coming upon Kuro cutscene skip though, and that could certainly make a difference.
Absolutely. This could cost Elo, upwards of 18 seconds or so. I don't expect anybody to miss it here, but it is, of course, a very precise trick and is still possible that anybody can miss. Elo taking his attempt and nails the bash perfectly.
Easy
so
trick.
No cutscene from him. No easy time save for Sigma. And both runners, I believe, will be going for the 5th energy cell. I know for sure Sigma will be, and Elo just picks it up now. And both using that, as Vula mentioned in the kind of pre-show, using it more for advanced speed strats rather than actual safety saves.
Correct. They're going to do things as Sigma gets his Kura cutscene skip, no problem. They're going to be doing things like Crazy Juggle, for example, which require that higher energy count, and you're not really going to be able to do them otherwise. So definitely they're going to be pretty much entirely using these for more risky strats. And Sigma, he had said if he were in the lead, he would consider doing some safety strats, but it almost certainly looks like he won't be because of the deficit right now, which is about 26 seconds, thanks to the one flub at Drainless by EloJimmini.
Sigma messed up a cutscene skip there, so he might have just lost those 2 seconds back. But, I mean, it's something very easy to do, not something that is really going to shake his confidence, I don't think.
No, he had made the safety save for the 5th energy right before picking up the 5th energy.
Okay, so
it just was
a bit of safety instead.
Yep.
Okay, so smart decision from Sigma then, trying to make sure that he didn't have any issues. He did almost have some trouble getting back out of the 5th energy cell, so I can understand the safety save. Not getting a fantastic dash glide over the spirit well here, I don't think. So he's going to have a little bit of a slower walk, but Elo is just making his way downtown, flying all the way over to the fast stompless trick.
Indeed, and they've both missed this trick once in the tournament. I would be very surprised to see either of them miss it now, but you never know what nerves might do. At the same time, you think Elo might be riding pretty high right now because his run has been amazing so far, but he also did have a world record pace run earlier today that he lost to Stompless, and right now he missed the shot. At least he's pretty sure he did, so he had to line up a second one.
And the first one may have worked, but I think he just wanted to go with the much higher confidence shot, and it works out perfectly for him. He warps himself into that cutscene, saving quite a bit of time. We'll have to see on the left side if Sigma is able to follow suit and match his pace there. Again, to kind of explain this trick, he'll be baiting the spider up at the top to shoot at him and then bashing it in a very precise direction in order to... He actually uses the second shot as well, so not even really saving much time there on Elo, unfortunately. But bashing that shot in a very specific direction to hit a set of rocks, racing away from it, and picking up the ability cell before the spider shot actually does hit the rocks. Very nice job from him as well.
Agreed, as Elo goes directly into Saro Bash. Kind of a weird setup there. That's because he's doing the 5 energy strats. He's having some trouble with his double bashes. He's able to get the first one off now.
The bird's lost some health now. I'm a bit worried, and he actually opts to double bash instead of using a charge dash at the end there because that bird might not have had enough health to survive. And now we'll be seeing a nice crazy long frog juggle out of him, I believe. And he said he's not too worried about this, so we'll have to see how it goes for him.
Oh goodness!
Bashes the slime. These are 1 to 2 frame inputs here, and he's going to have to abandon it. Did he lose that energy?
He had I think he had one of his charge dashes hit the projectile from the frog. So this is potentially huge for Sigma right now as he has the opportunity to catch up. It was 31 seconds back at Feather. He's going to go for his crazy juggle now, as Elo is going to grab his second frog, and he might try at least doing crazy juggle inputs on this guy. Depends on his energy count. And he immediately damaged him.
He could still make it work, but I'm surprised he's still going for this at this point.
Sigma is right behind him now, breathing down his neck.
Elo hasn't checked his UI. I'm a little bit worried about his energy here. He does have one, though.
Sigma was very low on frog health, but he did manage to get the frog up, and he gets his rocket jump, and he's just seconds behind Elo right now.
I mean,
what a turnaround.
We talk about specific tricks. Elo didn't even fail that drastically. You know, he didn't die. He didn't kill the frog. He just had a few bad charge dashes from a little bit of rough positioning, and Sigma is right back in this race due to it.
That's absolutely incredible, and it's exactly, I think, what Sigma was expecting, that he had the opportunity to make up some of that deficit in the late game, and that's exactly what we're seeing right here, as they're both going to be going to charge jump. Oh, that was laser cyclist for Sigma. He was able to make it through.
As Sigma's terrifying you with laser cycles, Elo was terrifying me with spikes. Everything will one-shot them here, folks. It's pretty crazy. But they both seem to make it to charge jump with no issues. They're only 5 seconds apart from each other right now, so Sigma catching up 26 seconds.
It's
from those
even
slight
less than
mishaps.
that. At charge jump, it was 3. That is absolutely incredible right now. These runners are so close. I cannot believe that we're seeing this right now, given that the deficit that we had earlier on.
Yeah, Sigma got a bit trolled by going a bit too quickly and running back into the door animation, the door opening animation. It does still play after you ghost door once it kind of starts fully opening. So he got a bit trolled by that. He might lose a bit more time there, but of course, Elo could make a mistake in Misty. Both going to be grabbing this experience here in order for to gain a level up at the end of Misty.
Sigma dropping a safety save coming into Misty Woods, so we're seeing already that he's thinking, I'm not ahead, but I'm close enough that I don't want to risk this completely. I want, if Elo messes up at all, I want to be moving on.
And this is the part of the game that Sigma has put painstaking amounts of research and practice into over the last several weeks throughout the course of this tournament. And it's showing because he's still catching up. He's almost tied to Elo. Elo didn't make any mistakes. Sigma just had very clean charge dashes. And this is just kind of, it's the proof is in the pudding here, man, with the research and the practice that Sigma has been putting in. Unbelievably close race at the moment. And we'll be seeing Elo get to climb just moments before Sigma.
Well, unbelievable is exactly the word that I want to use here as well. It's 25.46 climb for Elo, 25.47 for Sigma. That is 1.5 seconds difference right now. Any tiny flub by either runner will turn things around or possibly decide the race at this point. This is unbelievably tense right now.
It's absolutely insane. And we'll have to see if Elo goes for the meteor kick coming out of this area. Take a look at the right side of your screen. He does not. So Sigma may save a short bit of time. And wow, he nails it. So he is still right on his tail there.
Sigma
did lose
it.
Oh, what a value safety save! Sigma dropping it right before his death. He knew that was going to be a potential problem area for him. And he does still lose. But
he also lost an energy earlier on, though. So he's running on only 1 energy right now. And he's also lost a couple seconds.
I don't believe he has to really worry about his energy count right now. He has 3. He's going to lose 2 coming up near, shortly, and he'll have a slightly slower mini boss kill. But he will get that level up due to his experience routing early on, similar to Elo.
He is still very close behind Elo. They're basically separated by this one Frankie strat. He does not do the rocket jump on that Frankie to save his energy.
And he picks up an extra energy to make a safety save. So Sigma is really just going for basically banking on Elo to make a mistake here because he knows that he is making more safety saves and still playing a clean game, but making more safety saves than Elo is. So he's kind of hoping here, I guess, that Elo makes a major mistake and gets sent really far back. And if Sigma makes a couple small mistakes here and there, he's at least not going very far back at all.
Unfortunately, Elo is not supporting him on this just yet. He is not blinking at all. He is absolutely flying back to BRB right now. He is going to head to Light Grenade. Sigma following suit, just a couple seconds behind. My goodness. And
this is an unbelievably close match because not only there's I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. The runners do not have much time left in this run, right? We're expecting very low 30-minute-ish times from these runners. However, they're probably the 2 of the most precise and difficult tricks come at the very end of the run, one of them being the last input in the run. And so it's going to be very close here. It could come down to those tricks. We could be seeing Door Warp and Grenade Jump decide this race, or someone could still make a mistake on their way over to Horu.
Indeed, we heard it was 7 seconds at the teleporter. We're going to get another update as of Light Grenade, as Elo is coming in to pick it up. Sigma just did his cutscene skip. He's coming as well. It was 28.28 for Elo picking up Light Burst. And Sigma, it is 28.34. It's 6 seconds currently. And any failure on Door Warp or Grenade Jump is immediately a 3 to 4 second loss.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Absolutely incredible here. We'll have to take a look and see if anybody makes any mistakes on the way over to Horu. They both must know how great pace they're on. Elo with a beautiful rocket jump there. Sigma, I think had to wait a bit longer on that laser there. I think he might have had some issues, but he's going to go for the same rocket jump and nails it.
And this is exactly what they both need. They both need to not make any tiny mistakes at all, and neither of them is. They're just flying through.
Wow. And as we're getting word from our truck, Elo, we have to remember, has had historically kind of poor door warps. He unfortunately stomps a bit early, and I wonder if he's out of energy, and that's why we'll have to see if he charge dashes here. He is. He has to pick up this energy and be slow about it. And he even had to wait for it to come back. Sigma does not even have to worry about the energy, but he is only on 1. He can still do all the charge dashes he needs, but he can't do any uncanceled ones, and I do know he generally prefers those in this area. We'll have to make sure that he doesn't accidentally assume he has energy. Yeah, he is instead taking it a bit slower. And wow, they are very close. Elo has had historically bad door warps. However, Sigmas have been getting progressively worse throughout the tournament. It is a frame-perfect trick. I can't really call it either way. What do you think?
It's a 4-second difference. I think we're going to see first try from both of them. Let's see right now. Elo beginning his first reload for door warp. He nails it first try.
Sigma is now coming up to it, and the adrenaline coursing through him. He actually does not get it first try, so he's going to be losing some more time here. He does get it the second attempt, so this is still very possibly anybody's game at the moment. This is going to come down to the final trick of the run, grenade jump. EloJimmini will be the first to attempt it at the end of this escape. If you've been watching the tournament so far and haven't really caught up on the new strats here, there's a 35-second time save coming at the very end. Instead of doing fish strats, we'll be seeing these runners use light grenade, a skill that was previously useless, in order to hopefully not soft lock their game and instead save a lot of time.
That's right. They're going to stand on, or they're going to perch on the wall at the end. They're going to aim a wall charge jump. They're going to cancel it before they press the jump input with a light grenade. Elo's coming into his right now. Let's see how this goes. He needs a precise position, precise aim, precise timing. It's frame perfect.
He fails at the first try, but he does recover, and he's going to be trying it again. He's still ahead of Sigma. He doesn't get it the second time. He's going to be coming for it now. Sigma has 2 attempts at this, and he is on it at the same time. Sigma the third time. Sigma takes the race on grenade jump. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, what a turnaround at the end. Elo appears that he might have gotten he got the fake version, unfortunately. Just a little bit too much panic at the end.
He actually, I don't think I saw him get the grenade jump at all, but instead had the same, he pressed the buttons at the same time just as he had the previous 2 attempts, and decided, or either couldn't recover or decided to just take it.
Or he may have run out of energy as well.
He had 1 left. He had 1 half energy rather. So he had 1 more attempt, but he might have thought, I need to just go and just take the time loss at this point. Wow, for that's unbelievable. Sigma with a 32.06. My heart is pumping like crazy right now. How did it come down to grenade jump?
Well, you know, I mean, Sigma bided his time in the sense that he played as well as he needed to beyond the early game where he made a few mistakes. He played exactly as well as he needed to constantly throughout the entire run beyond that point. And he just waited and waited for his opportunity. And finally it came at the absolute last instant. Elo knows that he lost, so he's just kind of messing around with Naru a little bit. He's typing something, but couldn't quite make out.
See what he was going for there. But oh man, you know, we hype these races up based on the PBs, and we talk about them. We can talk about them for weeks, and lead up like this is going to be the exciting match. But we never know for sure. We never know who's going to make the mistakes. For that to come down to literally the last inputs in the game, unbelievable. And wow, I think we're going to have an interview with Sigma here because we just got to know what's going on in his mind, because that what an unbelievable race. It's the closest one we've had so far by far, even though the final time doesn't quite say it.
Yeah. Well, let's start with a quick congratulations, Sigma. You have taken the victory. You're moving on to the semifinals. Tell us just your first reactions to this race.
I can't believe that I won that.
Oh man,
was I ever ahead? Like I thought I caught up a fair bit in Suro, but I couldn't tell with the stream delay. Like I wasn't time stamping very well, so I was behind the entire time. Goodness.
You brought it within 3 seconds. No, a second and a half even. You brought it within a second and a half in Misty, because of just cleaner play. But ever since the Frankie fight at the beginning, you had not been ahead. So,
oh my god,
wow.
That's Elo's flipping early game. Like my Frankie fight wasn't even bad.
No, you were ahead by
briefly.
Okay.
Fight. Yes,
it turned around a jump pad basically
by frames, and
wait,
that was
he was
unbelievable.
ahead of me at the jump pad. I got an animation stack. Oh, he's a monster. This is what I'm telling you. He's a monster.
Well, we actually have Elo with us as well because I think Elo, not someone to shy away from fair sportsmanship, is here. So Elo, welcome. Sorry it didn't quite go your way this time, but you must be pretty happy with that performance. Everything up until the final input in the game, the final frame perfect trick, was unbelievably insane.
Yeah, it was definitely, that was exactly what I wanted from the run. Like, it doesn't matter who won or lost, but the fact that it was down to the hair, that is exactly what I wanted. I played as well as I could. It's a shame, obviously, of the last trick. But I actually failed it 3 times, and I was looking at the stream, just waiting to see if he got it first try or not. Like, don't do it, Sigma, don't do it! But then I saw he got it first time, no problem. I was like, fair enough, GG.
See, this is why this guy's a commentator, because that's basically exactly what we were saying. Except not don't do it, Sigma, but hey, Elo, come on, like what's going on? Like, it's so close.
Well, Sigma, we'll go back with you real quick and take us back to, I guess, the point where you were furthest behind in the early game after a few of the flubs, the missed cycle in BRB, and some of the other mistakes. What was going through your mind? What were you kind of thinking at that point about how you would get back in?
Well, my experience was way off for Fast Frankie Lock. But if it had been like 2 less than what I had, I probably would have just done that to make up for the cycle. But like, it was way off, so I was like, I can't do this. I'm just gonna be behind until like Feather for sure. So I just kind of played, and in a way that kind of took some of the pressure off too, because I was like, well, I'm not fighting for the lead anymore because that was crazy. So I'm just gonna plug along and try not to be too far behind by the time we get to Suro.
Well, to contrast that, Elo, well, first of all, answer us this. Were you watching the stream at all?
Yes.
You were? Okay, so the entire
Constantly.
time. Okay, so to contrast that, when you saw that you got this early lead, 30 seconds all the way up through basically Ginso, how are you feeling? Were you feeling pretty confident, or was the kind of pressure even more on? Take us through that.
I actually thought he was much closer than he was. I didn't realize the discrepancy was 30 seconds. I thought it was like 10 maybe. And it wasn't really affecting me. I was just kind of in the mindset of just play your own game. I was only glancing to see if it was really towards the end where he was catching up. As soon as I missed the fast juggle, I was like, right, Sigma is going to be dead on me, so I'm going to have to just play clean. Fortunately, I made it through there cleanly, which is more than I was expecting of myself. I thought for sure I was going to screw up Sorrow in a much more fantastic way than that. So, yeah.
We were worried trying to keep track of the energy and worried at the top of Sorrow that we were going to see totally one of you charge dash and one of you not charge dash, but it worked out very well there. Vulojin, do you have anything? I'm still speechless.
Dude, this race was really something. Sigma, going back to the end of the run, both of you guys are obviously watching the stream. You can see you probably have enough time, as you're teleporting to look at the stream and see, oh man, this is like within seconds. And then you got to the door of Horu and you went in, and Elo gets it first try and you got it second try, Sigma. What entered your head when it was second try door warp?
Well, I actually was able to look around enough during that time, so I knew he was ahead of me at the teleporter because I like time stamped against Light Grenade, and he was like, I don't know how far ahead, but he was ahead of me at Light Grenade. And then I knew he got first try, and I was like, the only way I can win is on the grenade, so I'm just gonna hope for the best.
Oh man. Well,
yeah, I must have been like, I can't remember exactly, but I must have been like 10 or 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds behind at the start of the escape.
I don't think it was anywhere near that much.
It was not that significant. It was on the order of 3 seconds entering the Horu door, and then you missed door warp 1 time, and he did not miss it. So it was
less than 10.
8 seconds or so, and then grenade jump happened.
What it was is Elo was able to take. He got 2 free attempts at grenade jump. Basically, he had 2 attempts where he was still ahead, and then on the 3rd one, you were both lining it up at the same time. Elo having just frames of advantage.
And, I was watching the stream. Once I got it, I was just holding right and watching the stream, and I was like, that's when I started to see him do it. Then I'm like, what happened? What's happening?
And now, Elo, we obviously don't want to, drag on the, the ending too much, but when it happened 3 times in a row, you actually, I think, pressed the buttons at the exact same time, all 3 times. So you actually were only 1 frame off each time. Was there anything going through your mind, or were you just go for it again and again and again, or were you trying to make conscious adjustments, anything like that?
Not really. I have a pretty decent setup for it, although it doesn't show apparently in this race. Usually I'm very consistent at the trick. I quite often do like the nade jumps to Horu and on the top where you just get light grenade, but yeah, it was just an unfortunate thing. I thought I could get it in the 3 attempts, apparently not, so never mind.
Wow. Well, unbelievable race. EloJimmini, any last questions or anything for our runners here?
Let's wrap up by looking forward. Sigma, your next opponent is going to be the VG_Hydra, who just claimed his quote-unquote free grenade jump PB today with I think it was a 31-47 or something of that nature. What do you think about that matchup, and are you more or less scared for that matchup than you were for this one against Elo?
I'm equally as scared. Hydra's a terrifying opponent, and I wouldn't even give myself good odds to win that one. I would favor Hydra in that matchup.
Well, only time will tell. So thank you both once again for an exciting and unbelievably close match, and for the interviews. And Sigma, we wish you well further on in the tournament. And Elo, will see you for some of the for the rest of 8 matches.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, good luck in those for sure. But meanwhile, that's about all she wrote for today. Looking forward, we actually were only scheduling up through the quarterfinals, so our semifinal matches have not quite been scheduled yet. We will, of course, be trying to let you know all as soon as they are. You can check our schedule via some of the links below the stream, and I think there might be a chat command.
Yeah, there is. ! Ori. I'm sure someone will do that momentarily. And we will be looking to schedule the 2 semifinal matches for next weekend. We will see how that works out depending on runner availability, but right now we're targeting Saturday and or Sunday for those. So keep your calendars open, because if they're anything like this match just was, it'll be absolutely incredible. Again, our 2 semifinal matchups, the semifinalists for the Ori tournament are Hetfield 90 versus X Epic Cat X, or as some people call him, Zepicat X. And of course, Sigmasin versus Hydra. So we are going to have some incredible action in that round, and we are going to see who's able to walk away with the victories and move on to the finals of the tournament.
In the meantime, follow the runners, please follow the stream. I hope you guys have all been enjoying, and Speed Gaming has been lovely for them to have us. And with that in mind, coming up next, we have Link to the Past randomizer tournament. So stay tuned and check that out, and we'll see you all next weekend, most likely.
Have a good week, everyone. Hobbs, it was a pleasure commentating with you, man. Have a good one.
You too.
Going to kill it far away from this door where he actually needs to level up, and then he's going to dash to the door, the XP chasing him, he gets the energy, he opens the door, and that is
exactly. I think it's probably one of the most stupid threats that we have.
Oh, goodness, Monkley with the dodge. That was...
I like floating laser turret, which you can imagine what that is. But yeah, I think they didn't mean for anybody to ever see these. Oh. Did you just see what Rufus did in that key?
I have never seen that. Is that faster?
Is that faster?
And it's very rewarding as well.
Oh no! Oh, he makes it! Wow!
Oh my god!
That was so close to only.
For the 5th energy, so it's going to put a temporary gap in between them, but it's going to. Oh my gosh!
What a nice adaptation to save it.
Races, and you watch someone who doesn't get the rocket jump up towards Sunstone, you might see them.
Whoa! He actually knocked that frog into the wall. He thought he was completely done for, but
he said, "I just don't want to die because if you don't save and you die here, it's real bad." So he's going to be taking a save.
Oh, wow. So Trojan got the shot. His shot looked extremely high, but he got it, and that's going to practically level this race right now.
Yeah, as you can see, they're now in the same cutscene, and Terra has to go up to the Spirit Well.
That's really where you're supposed to need all this wind without using the wind. He also went for a ridiculously risky trick there, where he skipped through that.
Spent like 4 minutes in door.
Oh, Meldon, can he make it back to the lane? What a beautiful charge dash from Meldon to save himself. That was absolutely insane. And yes, please take that safety step.
All he has to do here is get to the end of the game. That's his only target, whereas Cheese is on his way to Misty Woods. He's going to be going. Wow!
Oh, Rastiel, no!
Oh my god,
Rastiel, no!
I can't believe it.
Oh my god!
Think about that. So, just little things like that. Strategy getting to, oh goodness. Oh, the laser. Oh god.
Oh man.
Coming out of
Meldon. First miss for Meldon, second miss for Ruben. 3rd attempt, Ruben misses on the 3rd attempt. Meldon misses on the 2nd attempt. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Ruben, 4th attempt, misses. Meldon gets it on the 3rd attempt, and he takes the lead for the first time.
Ruben got it!
But Ruben gets it as well. I'm losing my mind here because they're actually come down execution on the final escape.
Dropping falling trees and boulders, and the whole time Kuro, the main villain, is chasing you, and you have to escape. Wait. Oh no, he bonks unfortunately. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's crazy.
This is so close to time. It's a really swag strat that only saves 2 seconds and has the potential to lose you over a minute.
He's going for it again.
He's going for it again. The absolute madman.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh no! Brindle's in the lead! Guys, okay, let's see if Brindle goes for fish strats. If he just plays it safe, he has this in the bag. He can't lose from here. He's not doing fish strats. Brindle's got this.